Good morning. I think it's time for us to start today's content. Oh, by the way, Lab 2 is available now. I thought I have already released Lab last week. But somehow, anyway, I made a mistake. I forget to make it visible to you guys. So the Lab 2, the due time will be, I believe will be the next Friday, okay? Next Friday. It's many fix on DynamoDB. Okay, so I know some of you have already demo your Lab 1. Yeah, some of you have already done great job. I feel so grateful because you guys work so hard. And then so far for those people who has already demonstrated the Lab 1, they have already done great job. And then so keep on working hard, okay? Keep on working hard. Okay, so today we like to continue DynamoDB. I think last week we didn't get chance to finish the programmatically access DynamoDB, the last two models, okay? Because that one's supposed to be finished on Monday during the lab time, but because at that time we planned to demo, right? It's okay, we can just catch up, okay? So I'm just like to start the content, okay? I mean, let's last week we already talking about in terms of programmatically programmatically access DynamoDB. So maybe first one, just very briefly go through this slides again, so help you to recall what we have already covered last week. DynamoDB first, it is NoSQL database, and DynamoDB normally consists of a set of items, okay, a set of items, and each item need to be uniquely identified through the primary key. So there are two types of primary key. One is just the primary key only consists of partition key, and another one is another types of primary key consists of partition key and sort key, right? And this is talking about items, and then so we already know one item can contain a list of attributes, and then so for the DynamoDB, because we say DynamoDB is used to store the data, for sure we do not store data just for sake of storing, right? So that's why we're talking about what? Or we're talking about scan, we're talking about query, okay? To retrieve the data, okay? And then so because of this, that's why here is when we query it or when we scan it, yes, we are able to use this predicator, okay? And then so after that, we already talking about, yes, the AWS SDK support 3 different programming models for your C# application, communicating with the DynamoDB, with the data in the DynamoDB. First one, low level, we're already talking about that one, okay? So today we will just, first half of today, we will just go through the document model, and the second one, and the third one is object persistent model, okay? But again, we mentioned only the low-level model, support a table, a create table, update table, delete table, okay? But neither document model nor object persistent model be able to perform these operations. So that's why when you take a look at lab 2, the first requirement, you need to programmatically create a DynamoDB table, which is to store user information. And then for sure, in this case, implicitly, you have to use what? You have to use low-level model, okay? Low-level model. And we can just take a look after we've finished the content. Okay, so now we're talking about, we focus on the document model, okay? Document model. Okay, here we go. In terms of document model, so that one we need to really based on what? Really based on the two fundamental classes. One is a table, another one is a document. Okay, another one is document, and then so we can take a look the table class. Okay, hope I can see that. Okay, yeah, here we go. So table class, for sure, this one is included. You can see the namespace, right? Included in Amazon DynamoDB, okay? And then so take a look at the property, okay? The tables class property. So hash key, we're already very familiar with it. And the keys, also very familiar with that one. Range of keys, we already know this is soft key, and the table name, yes, for sure. The attribute, for sure, we know that. So the rest you can see here is what? Here is global secondary index and the locally secondary index. We're talking about last week. So any idea about what is a global secondary index or what is a local secondary index? Any idea? Any idea? Because last week we already talking about global secondary index and local secondary index. What's the difference between them? Or in other words, what is global secondary index and what is local secondary index? Any idea? The primary key is composed different. Okay, not quite right. Thank you for your effort. Any other idea? Any other idea? Anyone? Because that one is really one of the fundamental, okay? You have to understand it, okay? Okay, we just put it simple. What is index or the purpose for index? What's the purpose for the index? To access data easily, to search the record easier, to track. Kenneth, what do you mean easily? Stephen, what do you mean easier? Organize it so that you can search specific parts. Without index, can we do the same thing? For sure, we can search specific parts as well, right? even though sometimes we do not have index. It does not have to search for rows and can follow serialization items position like a bookmark. Okay, when we search, do you remember, guys? In data structure, we say there are so many. Because majority of computer time is doing searching. So that's why we're talking about so many sorting algorithm. Because we sorted it out so that we are able to search more efficiently, or we can apply a more efficient search algorithm, right? So, Kenneth, if you just say access data easily, is not quite accurate. And also, Stephen, you say search the record easier. We can just say sometimes in computer science we do not say especially access data easy. We majority of the time we focus on access data faster, right? Talking about the performance issue, is that right? Because for sure the data has to be available. Okay, this is the one feature of the data. Okay, yeah. So always talking about the performance. Okay, so here is index. Actually, is what? Index basically is sorting the data, or like you said, add some sort of bookmark there, so that I sort the data in certain way, okay, in certain way. So this is what the because sorted. So that's why the purpose for index is really to improve the data retrieval performance. Okay. So for the DynamoDB table, we know a DynamoDB table has to have a primary key. By default, the DynamoDB system will create an index based on primary key. But we say sometimes we not only like to search based on the primary key or based on the sort key. Let's say last week we also used one example. Let's say like a DynamoDB table stored movie rank information, right? We already know at that time the primary key consists of the partition key, which is user ID, and the sort key, which is a movie title. But sometimes we also like to search based on the rank, right? So let's say I'm just like get all the movies which has rank greater than 8. So in this case, we may like to create an index based on rank attribute. Okay, so in this case, we say yes. The normal, the main index, if we can call it, the index based on the primary key is not enough. Okay, we like to perform better performance to search, so that when we search the movie, which the source movies whose rank is greater than 8. So in this case, the index automatically created based on the primary key is not enough, not able to help us. So in this case, we think about create a secondary index, right? Secondary index. It makes sense? And then so when we create a secondary index, we already know last week we're talking about what? We say that based on the attributes we use to create the secondary index based on whether these attributes contains partition key or not. The secondary index can be categorized into two categories. One is global secondary index, another one which we call the local secondary index. Okay, so now after we're talking about this, I try to help you to recall. So now, do you have any idea what is local secondary index? What is global secondary index? I repeat the question one more time. Because of this, we experiment. I try to help you to recall. And then, so in this case, based on the application requirement or based on the user's requirement, they just from time to time they like to perform or they like to retrieve the data based on non-primary key attribute. So because of this, we like to create a secondary index. The index is over different groups of table. What means different groups? Stephen? The index, yes, yes. So over different groups of table. What do you mean a different group here? Stephen, you can yell it out. You don't have to. Okay, global, the whole table and the secondary from a part of associated with an attribute. Okay, so the key thing here is still missing. We're talking about partition key. Last week when we're talking about partition key, we said the partition key is the input of our internal hash table. Do you remember? Hash table, because this hash table is based on what? Based on your partition key, we calculate the partition. We already know the partition, which is the physical location the item stored. Okay, so in this case, I just when we're talking about the secondary index, if the secondary index are based on the attributes, a list of attributes, more than one attributes, but partition key is one of these attribute. And then, so in this case, these types of secondary index we call what? Local secondary index. Okay, local means what? Yeah, because we what based on the partition key, we know what? We know particular partition, and we search the expected value within this partition. Okay, this is first. Second, we say globally secondary index. So if the partition key is not a part of the attributes, you create index. Okay, so in this case, and when we search, we really search, okay, through every single partition. That's we called global. Okay, that's we called global. I hope you understand it now. Okay, because guys, you really need to understand that part. Okay, this is one of the key concepts you need to understand in DynamoDB. Okay, for sure, 100% sure, this kind of knowledge will be tested in midterm test. Okay, so help yourself understand it. Okay, yeah. So we just back here. Where I am now. Okay, so this one, and then so you can see in terms of what? In terms of all these properties. Okay, all these properties of the table class. You need to understand it. Okay, so we can take a look. We can take a look the what? The I/O, the operations we can perform. You take a look here. For sure, this is what we do. We try to delete item, right? We can delete item, and we can, if you see, yes, for sure, we can get item. Okay, and also we can. You can see we can put the item. Okay, And then so you can, what? We're talking about query. We're talking about the scan, okay? So you can see based on the table class, we can perform the CRUD operation on the item level. Guys, not the table level, it's item level, okay? Item level. So now we just take a look the example, okay? Take a look at the example. I just like to close everything, okay? Let me see this. Okay. So this. Okay, you can see here. Here is operation. Okay, so for sure, we need to very much like Amazon S3 client. We also have Amazon DynamoDB client. Okay. And then so after that, we need to use what? We need to invoke table class static method. Load this table. We provide the table name. Load this table to the memory. Okay, to the memory. And you can see here. Okay. This is the user table is an object of table. Okay, we load it in the memory. Okay, this is first. This is a table class, and the second class is what? Second class is second class is document class. Okay, we take a look at document class. So here is again for sure this document class is also part of the NuGet DynamoDB. Okay, and then so here is constructors and here is the properties. Okay, the properties. Here is the count. Take a look. The count is the number of the attribute. Okay, number of the attribute. So here is the item. Yes, basically we're pretty straightforward. Okay, so here's the keys and here's the values. And then so in terms of method, so we are able to, can you see, we really handle the data itself, okay? You can see the data part, okay? Different, data type, okay? Data type. So if you just back here, when we like to insert, let's see, okay? If I'm just like to insert item to the table, so we just need to instantiate an object of a document, okay? And then so for here you can see each of them. This is what? This is the attribute name. Here is the attribute value, okay? So we have ID, we have name, we have address. We just say active or not. Here is interest, okay? So the interest here, this is what? This is a list. This is list. And then so after that, we instantiate another object of a document we call the skills. Okay, so here is the skills. And then so again, here is for C#, for Java, for Python, for skills. And then so here is what? This is 3, okay? This is 3. This is 3, you can see this document also contains 3, what? You can think it is 3 keys, okay? 3 keys. Bear in mind the last one, especially this line. This means what? This object of document being part of the attribute in this object new user, because we know the item in DynamoDB, the attribute in the DynamoDB's item can contain sub-attribute, right? Can contain sub-attribute. Okay. So here is this is we just like to instantiate the value for the for the item, okay, for the item. And then after that, we just what? Invoke, put item as sync, okay, put item as sync. So here is, because we mentioned, take a look, here is we need to specify the table name. Let me show you that one. Okay, so very first, I'm just what? Provide user. Okay, this is what? This is the DynamoDB table name. And this name, in other words, this table has to be existed. Okay, has to be existed. So let me just back to my AWS DynamoDB. I hope the user still there. I hope. Oh gosh, yeah. I think I. Oh, sorry. See, it's not different. Okay, so here is I have this one. Okay. So yes, I have this table. Okay, so that's why here you need to, if you just provide the user, sorry, not username, the DynamoDB table name which does not exist, and you will get error. Okay, because as we mentioned, document model, use document model, we cannot perform, we cannot create a table, we cannot delete a table, we cannot modify the table. It makes sense? Okay, so now I'm just change a little bit because what? Because the ID is the partition key. I already run this one, so in here I change it. Demo for section. Yes.
For line 40, we're just basically inserting a new column, right?
Which one?
Line 40.
940? You mean this line?
Yeah.
You mean this line? Okay, this line is just add this object of skills as another attribute of new user. Is also object of document. Nested. You get my point?
Yeah.
Okay. You get my point, right?
Yes, Professor.
Okay, so this is a way to show you, because do you remember last week when we were talking about a data type, a DynamoDB support, there is one data type we call the document, right? And the document support list and map. Do you remember? It's actually, this one is map. This is what? List. Okay, I will just show you. Okay, so first I changed that one. Is a demo for section 001. The name. Okay, I just didn't change anything. Okay. So now I'm just like to run this. Okay. Let's see. Run this. Okay. Yeah, I can run it. Hope it works. Okay, so now let's back to the table. Okay, I am just like to view items. It's supposed to be, yes, 7 this time. And here we go, right? Here is the one I added a moment ago, right? Okay, so we can just take a look here. Okay, can you see? Can you just pay attention here, please, guys? Take a look what? Take a look at data type, okay? So here, interest is what? It's a list. The skills here is a map. If I'm just expand it, okay? Expand it. Take a look at this. So here I'm also expand it, okay? This is the detail information, about this item in the table user. Okay, so here's the interest. Interest, do you remember in code we declare it as a list of string, right? So here is the list. Okay, list of string. So that's why here is the string. Okay, string. And then so in terms of the skills, okay, in terms of the skills itself is a map. Can you see? And then so here is, whenever we see map, for sure here is a key value pair, right? Key value pair. Okay, so the data type here is actually, it's a number. It's talking about this data type. Okay, the value data type. Does it make sense? Guys, it makes sense, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Professor. And also, I wanted to mention in that class in Visual Studio, is that a low-level model?
Which one?
This one right here. If you go here.
Yeah. Where?
And if you go to if you go to DDB operation, is that low-level model?
Oh no, this, can you see? We are using document model. Document model.
Oh, document. Oh, so this is document model, correct?
Yeah, this is document model. So because we use, you can see we use a document class. And you can see we use a table class.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so that's why when we, in the PPT, we already mentioned this is the two fundamental classes. I mean, when we use a document model, okay?
Okay. Is this the one we mainly would use?
It really depends, okay? It really depends. And let's say in your lab 2, again, as I said, the first requirement you need to create, because you are asked to program to create a table, right? So for sure, document model will not work, right? So you have to use low level, as I mentioned a moment ago, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because for lab we just practice, right? So that's why I just intentionally really add some requirement there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I got it.
You got it. Okay, it's good. But bear in mind one thing here is, it is what you really need to you really need to make sure the table you are perform this item level operation need to be existed there. Again, as I said, if this table does not exist, you will get error, okay? So because when you try to load this table, can you see? When you try to load this table, invoke this method, and this table does not exist, and then so you will get some sort of exception. Okay?
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
Because here we need to specify the table name, right? Okay. So here is a load table, and then so yes, a delete, pretty straightforward. Okay? So when we delete, we can what? Provide the key here, okay? And we can also provide the whole document, but normally we just delete. Maybe it's already provide partition. I mean primary key is already enough, okay? So this is what we're talking about. Talking about the document model, okay? Document model. I'm going to show you here. So now we're talking about object persistent model. This model is very much like DB context, entity framework call, okay, entity framework call. And because this one is really based on what? Using DynamoDB context class to do what? To perform item level CRUD. Okay, again, item level, because as we mentioned, object persistent model cannot help us or cannot facilitate us to create table, to update table, to delete table. One more time, okay? And then, so this is what, bear in mind, this object persistent mode is specifically designed for storing, loading, and querying .NET objects in DynamoDB table. Do you remember when we're talking about the Entity Framework Core? Entity Framework Core provide a tool which is called the DB scaffolder, and then so will automatically generate .NET class from relational database table, right? Do you remember? And then, so here, unfortunately, in this case, in terms of DynamoDB table, we have to manually create the data model, which based on, or we can say map DynamoDB table structure. Okay. So here is, again, as we mentioned, really fundamentally based on the DynamoDB context, okay? And again, we say, mapping model class to DynamoDB. So DynamoDB table identifies the target DynamoDB table, which the class maps. In terms of the mapping property to the, or I think I should say mapping, I think I should say mapping DynamoDB table attribute to the class property. And then so we need to do something. Okay, so now here is first explicitly mapping. We need to using the DynamoDB hash key or range key to map what? To map the partition key and the sort key, okay? And use normal DynamoDB property to just map a normal attribute of the DynamoDB to the property of the class. So default mapping, so basically the class properties are mapped to the attributes with the same name in the DynamoDB table. But here is, you don't have to map every single attribute property or every single class property, and in this case we just use DynamoDB ignore to indicate that the property will not have any attribute of the DynamoDB map. Okay, so now we take a look at that one. Another one. Okay, so first, let me take a look here. We just like to add student. Okay, so first take a look at the student. Okay, this we already know in C# one class. A class is actually to model the data which your application need to process. Okay, so here is, you can see this map annotation, okay, annotation, which means this student class is to map the DynamoDB table of student, okay, a student. And then so here is this property of the class student is what? Is used to map the DynamoDB's hash key ID. Very similarly, this one we can okay, so in this case the first name is mapped to what? The DynamoDB table's attribute, exact same name, first name. And if you do not provide, it means by default it's mapping the what? Exactly the same name. The attribute name is the last name. And also, yes, for instance, for this one means what? Means this program name property will not have any corresponding information in DynamoDB, which means that this property the DynamoDB will ignore. Okay? Does it make sense? So because of this, that's why we mentioned data persistent model is also what? The table has to be existed there, okay? So because we need to explicitly specify the DynamoDB table name here, okay? And then, so here is, take a look, I'm just using what? Here is this time, we are not using table class, we are not using document class, but we use what? DynamoDB context, okay? DynamoDB context class. Again, as I said, this one is very similar with the DB context class in Entity Framework Core, okay? In Entity Framework Core. So here you can see, yes, basically, if I'm just like instantiate an object of student, and then so can you see we just insert it, okay? We just save it. So when we save it, which means what? We just insert it, okay? We just insert it. And then so also we can what? We can also retrieve a particular student information, and we provide what? We just use load async, and then so we provide what? The petition key, okay? And also we can what? Okay, I'm just like to basically get this student information, and then so I just like to update the first name, and after we update, we save it. This one is basically is to update, right? And then so also very similarly, we can what? We can straight away delete it, okay? So if you just take a look here, okay, so let's see. We go to here, we take a look, go to the definition. So here is, you can see we are able to delete, okay? Delete, so here is you provide hash key, and so many different overloading version of this method, okay? So you can see for this one, we are able to provide hash key, provide range key, okay? And then so this is a delete. And let's see, here is a load, okay? It's a load. Means what? We get particular item, okay? But for sure, we can also, you can see, we also be able to query, okay? We're able to, whenever we save, okay, so here is insert update, right? And we are able to scan. Okay. So these things you just, again, as I said, well, for sure we will not have enough time to go through every single method of this class, okay, of this class. I just provide things here. The thing here is, I'm just like to, some students have already, after some of you have already demo lab 1, I think I'd like to point out one thing here, okay? So let's say here, very similar, okay, very similar. You can see basically, this is what? This is to, okay, maybe just to use this one because here is another example. Okay, so talking about, because we need to instantiate an object of Amazon DynamoDB client, okay? So what I'm saying here is one application, one client is already enough, okay? Because when we instantiate this object of this class, is just the underlying is just to establish the communication channel between your C# application and your DynamoDB. Okay, it takes time. It takes time. So, and also it is limited resources. Okay, so one application, this kind of communication channel is already enough. Okay, so because some students, when they demo their lab 1, I realize some of them like each method, they create one. Each method, they instantiate an object of Amazon S3 client, and this is really time consuming, okay? So here, as you can see, I'm just do this way. There's so many ways to do it, okay? I'm just do another way. Okay, so I guess this is the things I like to cover for the programmatically access DynamoDB. Okay, just like to show you, very briefly to go through what? Go through the lab 2, okay? Lab 2, okay, here is the due time. And then so you can you see here, okay, the very first functionality requirement, user login. Do it in C# code, okay? Create a DynamoDB table, store users' credentials, for instance, username and password, or many other information. Okay, so let's say users' address or users' contact number, cell phone number, many other information. But I'm just pointed out here too, okay? Because this is what basically is partition key, okay, primary key I just defined here. And insert at least 3 login credentials, which means you insert 3 items there, okay? And then so for sure you need to implement business logic, login business logic, which is what? Based on users login, you need to what? You need to query it, okay? You need to query it. Okay, so this is the first DynamoDB table, okay? Here is the second one. This is DynamoDB table. Yeah.
What do you mean by a query for 3? Number
Sorry?
3 on the. What do you mean by query on the third one?
The third one, this one, you mean?
Yeah.
Implement login business logic?
Yeah.
This is for sure you need to query, right? After user login, you need to provide allow user to log in, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay? And the second requirement here is you can see create DynamoDB table. You can call it what? The bookshelf. Take a look. View AWS Management Console. Okay? So you don't have to, bear in mind, you do not have to create this table using the code. You can just, because in this case, in other words here, you can what? You can do these things using document model or data persistent model. Okay, so which means I assume you have already created this table. It makes sense? Okay, so you just
prior to starting the project, we should already have the bookshelf.
Yes, before we run it. Okay, before we run it, this book is already there. Okay, I mean this table already there. And then so here is a list of the books on the user's bookshelf after user login. Okay, here's the view is 2 marks and the code is 3 marks. Okay. And then so after that, yes, we need to be able to view the book content. So here is really talking about, we mentioned book metadata and the book itself. Okay, book metadata can be what? The book metadata can be book title, authors, publishers, and then and the number of pages, and so on and so forth. But the book content is a PDF file. Okay, it's a PDF file. Let's say I'm just to show you here. Where's that one? Okay, so. Can you see? Yeah, I'm already contain 3 book. This is the book content. The book content, majority time is a PDF file, right? And we just store this PDF file in S3. So that's why I say lab 2 is a bit more complicated than lab 1 because lab 2 you not only use a DynamoDB table, you also need to use S3. Okay, you also need to use S3. Okay, so this is the requirement. Okay, so requirement, and let me just I hope it works. Let me just run the solution. I hope it works. I checked it yesterday. It works. Let me see whether, because I changed something. I run this. Okay, I run this. I hope I didn't touch this sample data. Login. So here is. Take a look. This one here is really we started. This is all the books on Cindy's bookshelf. Okay. So let me. I think I have this one. I double click. Okay, here we go. Yes, and then so I can read this book. Okay, so after I read, let's say I'm just I stop here. Okay, I stop here today. I need to bookmark it. Okay, here's the bookmark current page. Okay. So here's which page? Page 33, right? Here's page 33. I bookmark this one, okay? So I close it, and then so I just like to close that one. Okay, so let me run it one more time. And here is Cindy now. So 3 books, right? And I guess it's the second one. I read the second one a moment ago. Okay, so here you go. Can you see this time straight away come to what? Not page number 33. Okay, so all this data you need to, when we bookmark, and then so this current page you finish need to store in your DynamoDB table. This is just to give you some idea, help you to understand the requirement of lab 2, okay, of lab 2. Okay, so we take 5 minutes break, and then, oh no, oh, where I am. Okay, so we take 5 minutes break and we back at 9:30. Okay, we back at 9:30.
You have more content.
Thank you very much. Back here. Okay. So AWS RDS provides a cost-efficient and scalable relational database capacity while automating time-consuming administration tasks. Okay, this is a really good thing. Okay, so whenever we're talking about, I think 2 weeks later, we were talking about the scalability. Okay, so which is one of the key features of cloud computing. Okay, one of the key features of cloud computing. And then so forget to remind you one thing. For this course, after each lab, after you finish a demo, make sure you delete the resources you have already provisioned from AWS. Okay, so let's say after you finish lab 1 demonstration, make sure you may just keep one bucket. Okay, keep one bucket there, because the bucket when you do your lab 2, you need to have one bucket. Okay, and then so for all the others which you do not need anymore, make sure you delete it, please. Okay, this is a sort of mindset we mentioned. Cloud computing is like a utility. Okay, so when we do not need it, we release it. Okay, because otherwise you may be charged. Okay, you may be charged, especially when we're talking about the relational database. Okay. So DB instance, basic building block of Amazon RDS is the DB instance, okay, which means actually it's pretty much normally we're talking about what? Database server, okay, database server. DB instance is an isolated database environment in the cloud. A DB instance can contain multiple user-created database. We already know, right? There's like a database. So one database server can contain many databases. Okay, so you can access it by using the same tools and applications that you use with the standalone database instance. And then lab 3. You will need to use your data. Some of your data will be in the cloud. You may just use Microsoft SQL Server, but this SQL Server is not installed locally, but it's in the cloud. Okay. Right now, Amazon RDS supports Amazon Aurora, MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so this we take a look. Okay, let's take a look here. Yes, we're talking about this. Okay, RDS, relational database. Okay, so we just go there. We take a look. I like you to do with me so that you get some idea. Okay, right now, let's say, right now I do not have any database. Okay, in other words, I do not have any database server. Okay, so you can see the DB instances here is 0. Means here 40 means what? The maximum. Maximum you can instantiate 40 database server, DB instance. Okay, 40. So can you just log into your, can you just log into your AWS account? So that we can just create a database, okay? So first, I'm just like to create a database. And when we create a database, you can see the engine option, or in other words, the database which Amazon or which AWS support, okay? 6. MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL. So in your lab 3, you need to use that one. Okay. And then, so what is Amazon Aurora? Okay, so we take a look the Amazon Aurora. So Amazon Aurora is compatible with MySQL and PostgreSQL enterprise class database. It is like provided. It is really Amazon's product. Okay, so in terms of even so that this database server, this database actually is compatible with MySQL and Postgres, but have much better performance. We say up to 5 times of throughput of MySQL and 3 times of throughput of Postgres. And this one is also in terms of storage and can be up to 64 terabyte. This is auto scaling. Then so you can have 6 ways replication across 3 availability zones. Okay, So this one for sure it will automatically monitor and fail over in less than 30 seconds. If your database server, Aurora database server somehow crash or somehow has experienced some issues, and this one will what automatically handle it, and we don't need to worry about it. Okay, so that is the beauty of managed service. Okay, managed service. Right now, here in terms of what creation model, bear in mind, I'm just like to use what easy create. Okay, so use recommended best practice configuration. Some configuration options can be changed after database created. Okay, but if we just say standard create, we set all the configuration, but I'm just don't want to do that one. Okay, I'm not database expertise, so I'm just like choose the easy create way. Okay, this is the first. Second, I'm just choose MySQL. Okay, the engine type I choose MySQL first. Are you with me, guys? Are you with me? Because I like you to do the same thing with me so you get some idea, okay? Good. I'm just choosing MySQL. Okay, in terms of DB instance size, okay, so bear in mind, take a look here, just choose that one, free tier. Okay, free tier. And then so because we're not doing like production level, you can see for the production level or for production DB instance, take a look the price. Okay. For the developer and the test, you take a look per hour. Okay. So for us, this one is already enough, even when you do your lab 3 and your project. Group-based project, okay? So this free tier is already enough for us. So that's why I like you to use the free tier, okay? So you can you can see I really pay attention to the cost, okay? So because again, as I said, every penny count for us, right? Okay, so here is a database identifier. Okay, I'm just using, let's say, MySQL DB server. Okay, and here is the username. I'm just to choose the username they provide. I do not like they just use auto generated. I provide my own my own password. Okay. যদি এটা ভালো করে ওরা ক্লিন না করে, মানে ভালো করে ওরা জীবাণু মুক্ত না করে, তো অলওয়েজ যেটা ক্যানাডা ডেভেলপ কান্ট্রি না ক্লিন করবে। হ্যাঁ, বাংলাদেশে ফ্রেশ ওয়াটার যে এখন বেশি করে না, এটা এখানে দেখুন অনেকগুলো প্রসিডিউর ফলো করে। Sanjit, can you mute your mic, please? Thank you. Okay, where we are. Okay, I'm here. Okay, so here is just bear in mind the admin. I mean the username. Okay, you don't have to use the admin. You can just use whichever the name you like you provide here. But you already know, for database server, we in order to be able to access the database server, we need to provide credential. Okay. So you just bear in mind your password, okay? And then view default settings. We can take a look here. Okay, take a look here. Here is I think, sorry, I need to do one thing. I need to change it to the Ohio. Okay. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I just I changed that one. Provide. Okay, we can just view the, does not match. I guess this time should be okay. Okay. So here is just a view the default settings. Okay, so encryption is already enabled for sure, that one, because the data stored in the database, we like to, when it's stored, we like to have this data encrypted. Okay, so here is the VPC. We're already talking about the VPC. By the way, what is the VPC? What is the VPC? What is the VPC? We're talking about the VPC in the very first week, right? Virtual private connection? Yes, virtual private cloud. Okay, so actually is what? We say software network, right? Software network, okay. And then so here is actually the automatic backup. I will just change that one. Okay, I will change this one because I do not like to enable it. This also costs money. And the security group, yes, we already know, right? Okay, so you can see by default the publicly accessible is no. I need to change it, okay? Because otherwise I'm not able to access it. Do you can you just guess the rationale why publicly accessible is by default? They set it as a none. They said they disable it. Any idea? We may just guess. Why this publicly accessible by default is no, has already disabled.
For privacy reasons.
Yes, because when we're talking about, do you remember when we're talking about security, subnet. Yes, for security issue, subnet, we say some subnet is public, some subnet is private. For instance, classic usage for the public subnet, you just like deploy your web server, but database server normally will be what? We do not like it to be public, right? So because that one we do not like outside, it's really public to public, or any people can access it, which is not a good idea, okay? So that's why by default. But in our case, for this example, when I demo it, I need to change it later, okay? I need to change it later because otherwise I'm not able to access it, right? Through the internet. Okay, because I access it through the internet. Okay, so that's why I need to change it. Okay, but anyway, I just like pointed out. So create a database. Okay, while this may take 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, while it is creating, and I like you to because this is my SQL database. Okay, so now I'm just like you to in order to be able to connect to the MySQL database server, you need to have what? You need to install MySQL benchwork. Okay, I'm just like you to use that one, MySQL benchwork, and then so you can Google it, and then so for sure you will able to get that one. Okay, so as MySQL benchwork, okay, workbench, workbench, and then so you can what? You can just I think you're able to download here. Download. And then say you can, I accept all, say you can see you are able to download it, okay? You're able to download. You need to download it before you are able to connect to your connect to the MySQL database. So we instantiated a moment ago, okay? So for me, because I'm using Microsoft Windows, and so for sure, I just download this one, okay? You just use this time to download it, okay? Let me see, my database is available now. Let me see. Okay, let me see, it's still creating. Let's see. Oh, it's still creating. How come? How come it takes so long time? Okay. Oh, takes so long time. So, are you instantiating your database? I guess you have already done that part, still waiting. Are you downloading the workbench? Downloading, okay, it's good. It takes a little while, especially to instantiate the DB. This is the database server. Let me try one more time, see whether it is already available. Oh, come on. Oh, really? It takes so long time. Dashboard. Make sure this is okay. Okay, so okay, so now here is it is configuring right now. It is configuring now, okay? I have okay, so this is good. I'll send it. You can just use the existing one, which is good one. How to change the defaults? You already your DB instance is already ready? Not ready yet, so we need to take a little time, okay? Because mine is still no, because you need to this one need to be ready so that we are able to modify it. Okay, let me see. I hope it works now. Okay, so now I can, if you just check that one, check the DB instance, and you see the okay, so here. Go to here, click on the database server, and you see the I think you see where's the okay. So yeah, can you see the modify here? We can modify here, but because right now it's still backing up, not ready yet, so the modify button is disabled. Okay. So did I answer your question, Stephen? You see that one, right? Do we pay after creating database? Okay, depends on whether you are using free tier. If you are using free tier, using the minimum one, which do you remember a moment ago? I choose the three options. I choose the last one, free tier. If you're using free tier account, there's no charge. Okay, there's no charge. One instance. One. Okay, so yep. Okay, so right now let me double check it. How come it takes so long today? Okay, so anyway, while it is keep on doing, I'm just like you to take a look at the overview, the summary. Okay, the summary, and here is the DB identifier, which is my database server name. Okay, here is the version I'm using, and here is my SQL community I'm using, and here is the class because I'm using what? I'm using free tier, right? Eligible for free tier, so that's why I'm using db.t2.micro, and the region I'm using US East 2, okay? US East 2. In terms of connectivity and security, okay? So here is the endpoint. Here is the endpoint. And then so this endpoint, you need to copy this endpoint. And then so when you just open your MySQL Workbench, and then so you can add a collection, and then so here is your endpoint. Okay, the host name is the endpoint here. Okay, so the user is not root, right? Do you remember we by default is admin, right? Are you with me? Are you with me, guys?
Yes.
Okay, you're with me, right? Okay, so because it takes a little while, but I'm just like to do it parallelly. Okay, set it up. And then so here's, we also need to provide what? The password, right? Click on the store inval and you just provide the password you set moment ago when you instantiate this database server, okay? And then so here is connection name. You just use whatever the name you like, okay? Let's say connection to MySQL, okay? I cancel it because I already have it, okay? Because I already have it. Can you see this is the thing? Okay, so now I need to change the endpoint. I just need to copy paste this endpoint, and then so I'm just back here. I'm just use this one for all others. I don't need to change, and I hope it works. Okay, let me see. Still. Let me see the database server. Okay. Yeah, okay, it's good. It is available now. Yeah, can you see the status? For me, it is available now, so I'm able to do something now. And then so first, I'm just to go to here, and then so can you see the modify button is enabled now, okay? So again, as I said, because right now it is a publicly accessible, is no, I need to change it, okay? I need to change it. So I just modify it. How come my computer today is so slow? I think here is security group, database, backup. Where's my... I don't like to enable it. Standard. Guys, how come I'm not able to find the do not create standby group is okay, security group, okay, additional configure. Okay, so here we go. I'm just to change it to be publicly accessible, okay? Yeah. Additional configuration, I'm just change it to be public accessible, okay? Then so I just like to change it. Modify DB instance, yes. As modified. Let me see one more, double check it. It's still no accessible, no publicly accessibility now. I just like to refresh it. It takes a little while. Okay. It is still modifying. Okay. So after that, you can see you just what test a connection. Okay. For sure, if I just click now, I will get error, right? I will get error. So how about you guys? Am I still modifying? Yes, I'm the same. Your request to create a DB instance MySQL server didn't work. Really? I have error when I create a database. Okay. So, which types of AWS account you're using? I guess if you're using the you didn't have to because I made mistake. I deleted something from my North Virginia, so I get some error, or I'm just I have to change it to another region. You do not have to. Hankyu, you don't need to change you do not need to change the region. If I'm not sure which types of AWS account you're using. If you're using free tier account, I'm 100% sure there should be no problem. But if you're using the account our department sent to you, I guess you may not be able to create a MySQL DB instance. Okay. Okay, so how many of you have already get to your database server ready? Okay. So now let me check. Mine is still modifying. Oh my god, so how come this takes so long time? Okay, it's available now. Mine is available now. Let me just like to test a connection. Successfully met the MySQL connection. Okay. So now because that one is already successfully, so now I'm just like to open the connection, and then so connect to MySQL database server. Okay. It might take a little while. Okay, so here we go, right? So show databases. Then I can run it. Yes, I'm able to see. Yes, there's some databases there. Okay, so system database. So it works, right? It works. Okay, so anyone, you manage to connect to your MySQL database server, which is in the cloud. Do I have to use endpoint? Yes. Because in this case, you're not connect to the local host. You really connect to the database server, which the endpoint provided. Okay. Yeah, for sure it's not local host. Not local host. Do you remember? Okay, so take a look. Here is my SQL database. Here is the endpoint, okay? Because we like to connect to the database server you instantiate the moment ago or you provision a moment ago. For sure not local host, okay? Because I do not connect to the database of MySQL server locally, means installed on my own laptop. No, I do not have this one. So that's why in the host you need to specify, you need to use the endpoint of your MySQL server. Okay? Anyone? I'm not sure. Does any one of you manage to connect to your database server, which is in the cloud, which we just instantiated a moment ago?
Professor?
Yeah.
Problem.
Yeah. What's the problem?
Yeah, I got like an in point and then next I just like miss the next process.
Which one? Yeah. What do you mean, Abdul? Okay. So Bazanta. Bazanta, I just let you to. I give you. Do you mind you just share your screen?
Yeah, okay, Professor.
I make you a presenter, okay? Let's see what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have an endpoint, right?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, so but can you see on the right hand side under the security? Under the security, yes. Can you see the public accessible is still no, right?
No, yes.
Yeah, can you just click on the modify? Yeah. And continue. And then so you just modify, yes, apply immediately. Yes, have you already modified it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just click on that one. Modify DB instance. Sorry, your request for modifier has failed. Okay, so back, I think, back. Can you click on the back? No, yeah. Okay, so can you scroll down a little bit? Scroll down, I think, up, sorry. There is one more, can you scroll up one more? A bit more? There's one thing, okay, scroll down, slowly, okay, scroll down slowly. Let's see. Multiple. Scroll down a bit. Okay, so can you see the additional configuration below at the bottom? Yes. Can you just make that one to be public accessible? Yeah. And then so you change it. You just modify it. Yeah. You just yeah, you can. No. You don't need to check that one. You just continue.
Oh, continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I have to apply immediately.
I think so. Yeah, you can try this one. Otherwise, see what happens. Yeah, it is. It not available yet. Okay, so it's still. I think it's still modifying. Okay.
Okay, Professor. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Any of you get chance to connect to your MySQL database? Still creating. Oh, it takes a little while. And still not creating. Okay. One more thing I like to point it out here is what is the can you just click on your database server and the connectivity and security? Can you just check the security group? Do you remember security group is a sort of firewall, right? And then so you check that one, and in the inbound, we need to allow the traffic from anywhere, but through what? Through this type here is MySQL or Aurora. Okay. And then so the protocol is TCP. The port number is 3306. If you do not add this one, and then so the traffic you may not able to connect to your database server. Okay. So if you do not have this one, you will not able to. Okay, you will not able to connect to your database server. If you like, you can see you click on the edit, so you are able to add rule. Okay, you are able to add rule. In the traffic, you can see they already specify a list of traffic. The MySQL Aurora is one of this option. Okay, one of this option. Okay, so you just after you modify it, after you insert or add this rule, and you click on the save rule, and then so you should be able to connect to your database server. Okay, you should be able to. And then so we are able to create a database. We are able to do basically whatever you like to do. Okay, whatever you like to do. So here is I just to give you some sense here. I just create a table. I just create a database. Yes.
You're not sharing.
Oh, okay. I'm not showing. Yeah, it's just because a moment ago I give the presenter to Basanta, forget to open it. Okay, so I just repeat one more time. Okay, so basically in your database, okay, DS. Yes, how come so slow my computer today? Serious. Okay, I have one database server, right? So here we go. And then so I just go to the database, and under the connectivity and security, make sure you can see here. This is the what? This is the available. I think there's another one. So the third one, I'm not able to see it. Okay, so here we go. Security, and then so we already know security groups is a sort of a firewall, right? And then so I just check, make sure this security groups has one inbound rules which allow the traffic of MySQL and Aurora. And here's the part number. And then so here is, this one means from anywhere, okay? So if you do not have this rule, and then so you can click on the edit bound rules, inbound rules, so click that one, and then so you can see you are able to add rule, okay? Let's say if I'm just add rule, and then so this time I'm not talking about costume to TCP, but I'm very specifically say what? MySQL Aurora, okay? And here's costume, here is anywhere IPv4, and then I click save rule, okay? But I do not like save it because I already have it, okay? Otherwise, these types of traffic will not be allowed or will be blocked by your security group, okay, or by your firewall, okay? Does it make sense? Okay, I guess that's the whole things I'd like to cover today. And then so really give you some idea how we are able to instantiate or provision a database server in the cloud. Basically just to take a few minutes. And this is first. Second, after the bench has already more complicated than lab 1, okay? Lab 3 will be